Welcome, everybody. Sorry about that. Had some little technical difficulties. This is a view-only moment right now, but there will be time for you to ask questions later on. Please feel free to use the chat should you have any questions for Dr. Aidyl. But I'd like to begin by first welcoming all of you for today's 2024 virtual keynote with Dr. Aidyl Gonzalez-Serricchio. So again, I'm Anthony Kwan. I'm the coordinator 3 STEM Science here at the LA County Office of Education. If you have any questions about any things regarding science, computer science, environmental education, STEM, STEAM, or even student events such as our Engaging Girls in STEM, Science Olympiad, LA County Science and Engineering Fair, please feel free to contact me. But again, this is our virtual keynote, and this is in preparation of our 2024 Engaging Girls in STEM, which will be taking place on March 30th at the LA Zoo. If you have not registered, or your teacher or your parents haven't registered you to come to this event, please feel free to go to www.engaginggirlsinstem.com, where you can register with you and your female friends. This is open to all 6th through 12th grade girls. You'll be able to meet our STEM ambassadors. And when you go to the Engaging Girls in STEM website, you'll be able to see profiles of all of our ambassadors who will be coming to our event, and an opportunity for you to talk to all of them. But more importantly, this is for you today because we are, again, have Dr. Aidyl Gonzalez-Serricchio, who is our virtual keynote for today, and so excited to actually have her come to speak to all of you today. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and just again introduce Dr. Aidyl, who's a research scientist, astrobiologist, analog astronaut from Caltech with a background in molecular genetics. And with that, Dr. Aidyl, I'm going to go ahead and pass the torch on to you. So I'll stop my share now.
Hola, hola. Thank you so much, Anthony. It's such an honor to be here. And I am so proud of each and every one of you to even be part of this. You are actually investing in yourselves, investing in your future, and especially for the Engaging Girls in STEM in March 30th. I encourage you to talk to every person there. You will see yourself reflected. You can see the possibilities and more. And thank you for being here on a Saturday. I was thinking, how am I going to start this up? And I have some props to show you. Right now, you're actually investing in yourself. Don't worry about everybody else is doing. Just think of yourself as this arrow, as you see here. And I usually say this to all my mentees for the past, I think now 20 years. You are this arrow. And everyone in this room, everyone around your environment who is supporting you are the bow. And just think about it. Right now, you have yourself aiming. You have yourself with everyone else investing in you. And don't worry about anybody else, because right now, starting this very moment, you are gaining energy. You're gaining so much information. You are being helped by everyone else on how to point yourself in the right direction. And then once you are ready, you will fly. And this is the beginning of that. I'm so proud of you for doing that. And again, if you have any questions throughout this little short adventure of mine and where I started and what I am doing right now, please don't hesitate to ask me a question, okay? So here we go. So everybody's story is so important. And my story is similar to everyone else's. We worked hard, we had obstacles, but we persevered. And the only way that we persevered is that we found our community. So this is the beginning. This is my journey. And for the past year and a half, I've been exploring the world, but I never thought I would be doing this because I start from very humble start. I come from the South Bronx. I'm the first generation here in the country, well, in the United States, because Puerto Rico is the United States. But both of my parents or my family didn't go any further than a 6th grade education. And we were brought to New York City, or my parents told me we were brought to here to New York City because of Operation Bootstrap. And this was my environment. I actually found this image here, and I think this is actually me in the South Bronx in the early 80s. because there were a lot of people just taking images of the South Bronx, of the poverty. But I knew even at that age that I wanted to do more. I wanted to have a greater impact. I had so many questions. Like, why am I living in such a food desert? Why not much representation out there that we could do something more? So this is me. And my father built those 2 beds. My sister, my brother, and I stayed in this room. I was wearing hand-me-downs. These are actually my brother's clothes. And there was a moment that changed my life, and it was a visit from a cockroach. Fun fact, I was sleeping in my bed and I saw this cockroach, not this one, obviously, but I saw a cockroach lay eggs underneath that window. And I was so surprised. Well, I didn't know were eggs. I thought they were worms. And I'm like, whoa, I wonder when there's going to be an actual cockroach. So I covered it up with a shoebox. And every day I kept on checking, when is it going to be a real cockroach? When is it going to be a real cockroach? There were about 3 worms, I thought. So about 2 weeks later, those 3 worms that I thought were actually egg sacs. So if you look at your knuckles and you notice how you have compartments, they're actually little cockroaches in those compartments that I thought they were worms. So they call egg capsules. And then I was amazed that I could actually see those little cockroaches coming out of those eggs. And they started off very clear, very transparent. And over time, they were darkening up. And I was like so amazed. I'm like, how is this happening? I went, mommy, guess what? Guess what? She got get you get it, Gigi. I'm like, guess what? Did you know that cockroaches? I thought they were worms. I was telling her the whole story. She was like, how did you know this? Like, what? I'm like, I have the whole family. So you can think about the excitement that she had, and she got the raid and she yelled at me, but that piqued my interest. But every time I ask, can I be a scientist? What do you call this? Why is this happening? I was told, even from my teachers, that's not for you. That is for other people. Just be happy where you are. Just study hard and you could get a job at the corner bodega. And I was not satisfied. But if it wasn't for little snapshots of representation growing up, so this is actually an episode from a TV series back in the day called The Cosby Show. And this individual here is actually Tony Orlando. And I remember this episode. I actually wrote to him about this. And I said, well, when I was watching this episode, I knew he was Puerto Rican, but in this episode, he actually said, I'm Puerto Rican, I went to college and I'm here. And like, I went, wait a second. So that means I could go to college? I thought it wasn't allowed. Then this individual, this is Dr. Eddie Knowles. He actually was a dean at a college that I wanted to go to called Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. And a little story about me, I didn't do well in school. I did okay, but not well. I had trouble reading. I actually didn't know that I was memorizing books and memorizing everything to really understand. When the SATs came around, I didn't even break 1,000. And I'm like, so frustrated. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be another statistic, but I loved science. I had all these questions. Then this individual came by to the school to, a college recruitment opportunity. So I went to him. I'm like, oh, can you tell me more about RPI and stuff like that? And he was asking me, hey, what are you interested in? I'm like, I love science. I love DNA. I love genes. I love how things evolve. And I love that we could take science and go to outer space because the ISS was being talked about, but it wasn't built yet. And I'm like, I want to be an astronaut and really solve problems using space. And he's like, you could do that. And I'm like, no, I can't. He's like, why not? How are your grades? And I told him what they were. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to invest in you. I'm going to get you into college. And he did. And if it wasn't for him believing in me and seeing my potential and not what the numbers said, I wouldn't be here today. I earned my doctorate from Caltech. I went to postdoc. And it started my path. And here I am. I have my doctorate. I was at the Institute of Genetic Medicine, starting my postdoctoral degree. I was looking at neuromuscular disorders, but I wanted to do more. I wanted to have a greater impact. I wanted to go to space. I wanted to make sure that every person out there knew that they can do this. They can start this now. It doesn't matter where you come from. It just matters where your heart wants to be and getting that support system and giving you the tools as much as I can. So I started to do that. And I was fortunate that I invested in myself. I was a little slower than everyone else. My trajectory was way slower. I had a learning difference, so it took me a little longer to pass the exams, but I did it because I needed differentiation. I had an accident, so I had to learn how to walk again. And that delayed me a couple of years, but it did not stop me. I knew that I could make it. It doesn't matter how far others are going. I just wanted to know I wanted to be there too. So I just invested in myself like that arrow. I'm like, just take your time, just you'll fly once you're ready. So that potential energy was gaining. So when I reached it, I was able to take the skills, go around the world, teach, and here are just some little snapshots. So here I was at the Arctic looking at soil quality because I wanted to make a difference and really understand what's going on with the global crisis, looking for worms, looking for microbes, and see how we could use them for bioremediation. And that you can do this too. It's not only for scientists. Those who are interested from 5 to 105 are actually participating. Then I was started to train as well and being in isolation. So I was actually doing more global research, climate research, soil research within a facility. I was in isolation for 2 weeks in Poland, couldn't see the outside. It was just myself and three other individuals. And all I was doing is research and looking at climate changes. Then just in November, this past November, I wanted to go into the depths of the earth. And I lived in a cave for about a week, looking for organisms that can actually help in aiding the environment. While doing all this, I was also training.
So now you're entering.
So right here, I'm learning how to do some soil sampling, actually cloud sampling here in micro G.
Experiments with plants. Filling up my
So let me see if I could. I just didn't know how to mute all of this.
Here.
Hopefully I can go to the other page.
Yo.
Hey, and I'm gonna try to go to another slide. Okay, there it is. So the common thread of me going to all these other parts of the world and hopefully outer space, I was selected to be in Axiom 2, but unfortunately, money bought out my seats. So I'm hoping for the next one, I will be at the ISS doing research. And I still believe in that. I'm still training for that. But throughout all my experiences, the common thread is how to make sure everyone has access, how to become a scientist, how to be a social justice warrior, an environmental warrior, how to protect our planet because it's our only home, because science has no borders, and how everyone could feel the agency to make change and see how connected we are to this planet and how we can make a change. So I created the citizen science work, which anyone could participate in. You could contact me or contact Mr. Kwan about this. And you could actually participate, understand, look at the microcosmos, put in the data, and actually create a research project and collaborate with other scientists and make a change. Also, you all can participate in publishing your research, publishing your artwork, publishing your own thoughts and your interpretations of what's going on and how we can make a change. So that's actually, if you look at STEAM Superheroes or look at Mind Magazine, you can actually participate in that. So I hope this could, there we go. Let me go back. So some of the activities that I've been doing has been eye-opening. So the adventures in STEM, the adventures of where you start does not limit you. You can actually really do go around the world if you have that belief in yourself, that investment in yourself, seeing asking others, hey, can you be my mentor? Can you guide me? Am I in the right direction? And someone who could give you constructive criticism and saying, hey, I think, you're losing the mark, or just giving you feedback for your growth, because those are the ones that will lift you up. So I was very fortunate to work with Dr. Mae Jameson. So she's the first African-American woman to go to space. This is some of the research that I was doing in Poland. I was in the Arctic, and I was looking at the water quality. The water in the Arctic, the waters all around the Atlantic, as well as the Pacific and the Arctic Ocean, is acidic. So you can actually see that there is an effect going on with the climate change, with CO2 levels increasing. And with the image around me, this image is actually the cave that I was living in for a couple of days when I was in Portugal. This image was taken by an incredible scientist and photographer, Dr. Mara Lete. We used the black light. It was exposed for about 15 minutes, and we found the microcosmos. We found some new organisms that I can't wait to publish in a couple of months. And that's me here, just really investigating how life, biotic factors interact with abiotic factors, non-living organisms or just things. So I'm working with geology and seeing how they work together and how we can use these organisms who are thriving to see how it could help us thrive again above the earth. And this is some of the research that I do here, is looking at how the soil is changing and the life within that soil, how it's changing, and how we could actually find some type of remediation, some type of tools to help that soil to become healthier so we can have food, so we can have oxygen. I'm just going to talk a little bit of what you can do right now if you want to participate, if you want to start living the life of a scientist, an engineer, an ethicist, and an artist. You can do that now. There's several types of citizen science works that you can participate in. Mine is called Soil Science and is looking for new nematodes and microbes. And are their presence due to the fact that they're thriving, not thriving? Can they be used to regain higher quality in our planet, or livable qualities? So this is just a little story about it. If you are interested, this is the story that is a longitudinal study. It addresses environmental issues. So if you have a particular question of what's going on in your environment and you want to address it, you can, and you can make a difference. Doesn't matter what age you are. And you can start collaborating with other individuals around the world. So I have individuals from Longyearbyen, from Portugal, from Africa, from Puerto Rico, from Mexico, and from India, all working together. And they're actually collaborating, sharing their data. And I thank Folderscope for providing these kits. So there are certain areas around the world that don't have access to even a basic microscope or even a basic test tube. They provided in kind these little kits, so I could say, here, start. So as we know, the health of the dirt is the health of our planet. And I thank my son, Serricchio, for creating this image. So I wanted to end here, and I want to show you how there is a team working together in order to really provide support, tools for the next future world changer, which is you. And I work with them very closely. I actually am one of the co-creators of STEM superheroes. Definitely LACO and Mr. Kwan and that whole organization here to really help in providing access and tools and a ladder for you to grow on. The Los Angeles County Fair, my Comoish group, that's the research group that I was part of, an international team of scientists from all different fields working together to really address climate change. Here's Janet's Planet, a great resource as well, the Solar System Ambassador, Caltech, and the Explorer Club, because together I wouldn't be here, and I appreciate them. And they also provide tools for individuals, again, from 5 to 105. It doesn't matter how old you are, as long as you have that passion to continue on. And that's about it. And I'm really eager for questions because I want this to be a dialogue. If you're interested in participating, there's a QR code. So if you want to be part of their citizen science, and this is just a little fun teaser here. This is some of the mysteries inside the caves in the lava tubes, that life persists. They always find a way. Thank you so much. So I'm eager for questions.
Yeah, if you have a question, feel free to put them in the chat box. I am going to go ahead and give you an opportunity to unmute yourself so that you can also ask your question live here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So feel free to unmute if you have a question for Dr. Aidyl, but this is a great opportunity to ask her questions of any sort, whether it's about her life, her career, how to get to college, whatever you like. Feel free to do that now. Here's a question from Evelyn. Would you be open to meeting high school students for a guest speaker session?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Count me there. Definitely. Yes, because it's important. Yes.
And if you want to contact Dr. Aidyl, I did put her email, Aidyl at caltech.edu. Mai has a question. How long do you take in college and what did you study?
So as an undergrad, it took me about 4 years and I studied biology. I love biology. So I studied biology, genetics, and I had a minor in social sciences because I did want to understand how people interact. And I took a little longer. It did take me 4 years for undergrad, but I also took summer courses because it takes me a little longer to process. So, and it was, the 1900, 1990, so they didn't know about differentiation as much. So I asked if I can have these extended times. And as according to the 1973, now actually they changed the 1975 Rehabilitation Acts, they have to provide scaffolds for you in order to be successful. So you cannot run a marathon if you don't have sneakers, or if you want to read a book and if you need glasses, you need glasses. In order for me to be successful, I needed this thing called a Kurzweiler machine. So I have better auditory skills. So when some individuals read me the exams, or if I had exams early, I excelled because I graduated with honors from RPI. So, and then for PhD, it took me about 5 years.
Hey, Adil, you had mentioned that you weren't a great student. So what was your, if you don't mind, your grade point average?
The thing is, it's because of my dyslexia, my ADD, and the other spectrum colors that I have. My average was a CB, and that B is because I memorized. And once I was diagnosed, I was actually diagnosed in college because I was failing college. RPI that freshman year, I had like a 1.0, and I had two jobs because I had to find a way to support myself. And it was an individual who said, something is wrong because you know everything. But whenever I took the exam, it's like I wasn't answering the questions. And I'm like, I know the stuff. So I was tested and they said I had a severe learning difference. And the way I was able to persevere from like grammar school and high school was because I came from a bilingual school. They read the exams for you and then I was able to answer it. So I always aced those. But it was junior and senior year when they said, okay, you got to read it all by yourself. I never finished the test. I just couldn't do it. Once I was diagnosed and then they gave me that differential, I had extended time. I had someone to read those the words for me from a 1.0, 4.0, 4.0, 4.0. So I graduated magna cum laude from RPI, went to Caltech full ride.
It's so funny because I also did not know I had a learning disability until I got to college as well. But I didn't find out until my second year in college where I almost got kicked out. Ashivi's got a question for you. How many times do you go to space?
I haven't yet. I was so close. I mean, I even have a tattoo. I was so close. I have to pull it out. I was training. They did the background check for me. And then I got the call October 2023. So I was selected to go to Axiom to do some of my Alzheimer's research. And Discovery Plus wanted to follow my progress. So they were actually sponsoring my flight to go to space. And they know my story. October 2023, I get a phone call saying, hey, Aidyl. I'm like, hey, yep, I'm ready to go because we're going to start training and stuff like that and filming. And they said, well, we just found out that your seat was bought out by someone else and the other seat. So, and I'm like, no, I will have other opportunities. But a lot of my friends already went up. Dr. Cyan Proctor, Kelly Girardi, Kat Esteresa, Sarah Sabri, so many people went up. They were part of my program, so I'm hoping I'm next.
Hey, Adil, just to let you know, Dr. Cyan Proctor will be at our Engage Girls in STEM event too.
Diana, I'm gonna text her now.
Yes.
No way. So yeah, I, I could get. I'm gonna call her. Okay, yeah.
I've got some more questions, and please keep these questions coming. These are great. Amanda's got a question. How were you able to land your opportunities post-college?
I emailed everyone. I just knew where I wanted to go, and I read a lot of science articles, and I see these particular aims and these particular projects. So I just started emailing them saying, here's what I've done. This is where I know I could be an asset. And this is how you could help me grow. And that's all I did. And all you need is one person to open that door that says, yes, absolutely.
Here's a related question. What was your first job after graduating college?
Well, my very first job was Ben and Jerry's scooping ice cream in college. I scooped ice cream. I also had to clean like toilets and stuff because that's a big income. When I was in high school, I worked for Loehmann's. I was a stock person, so I was like putting the prices and putting them up. So those are all my jobs, and then tutoring, and then eventually at the Institute of Genetic Science, Caltech, stuff like that.
Mai has another question, and that question about your first job was from Christina. Mai's got another question. How much did your education cost, and how did you deal with it?
That was rough. This is where I'm, like you're investing in yourself. I didn't have a role model on how to pay for it. So I had to take out tons of loans. I worked 2 jobs. I was constantly working. That's what I had to do. But once I was an undergrad and I wanted to go to graduate school, I wanted to get my higher education. I learned that people will invest in you, organization will invest in you, and that you don't have to be in debt. So for my high school students entering college, and for my college students thinking about graduate school, for undergrad to graduate school, there are organizations like GEM, Ford Foundation, NIH, Howard Hughes, the Van Nuys Fund. There's so many organizations that will invest in you, no money out of your pocket. Now, from going in, high schoolers going to college, there are opportunities out there. Yes, you might take loans out, but there's ways not to take loans. There are, again, GEM, ARCs, there are, I will send you all the information, just email. There are so many organizations that will provide at least a 1, 2, 3, or 4 year grants and scholarships for you. If you believe in yourself, others will believe in you, and things will fall into place. And do not be afraid to take a job. You might need to take a job as well.
Julie has a question. Did you do any extracurriculars?
In high school, yes. I was always part of student government, and then reading. So that's actually ironic. So I used to go at Cardinal Spellman. That's the high school that I went to. Besides being part of student government, I used to go to I was the inner city, but I went to other schools or to shelters and just read books. So it was fun.
Amanda's got a couple of questions. How frequent do astronauts go up to space, from where, for how long? And not all astronauts go to space, so many just keep studying, researching. Is that right?
Correct and correct. So it depends on what's awesome, and I'm so glad Cyan will be there. So you are now living in the space age. Before, access to space was limited to NASA, ESA, JAXA, those particular individuals. But now it opened up to civilians, to scientists, to artists. And it depends, first fund, the civilian component is, are you able to pay for your seat either through grants or investment or research projects? And if you're working for NASA, because I already applied for the Astro program again, is opened up for the adults there if you're interested. It depends on what task needs to be done, your age and your health, and who has that qualifications. There are a lot of astronauts who have graduated from the astronaut program that have never had a chance yet, but they will.
So another question is, did you take any AP classes in high schools? If so, which classes did you take?
I took AP Biology, AP History. Those were the only two I could afford. Because you had to pay for the classes when I was there. And for me, back in the day, was $50. And that was a lot. So those are the only two I could afford.
Yeah. Questions, folks. Any more questions? This is a great opportunity. And Adil, thank you for so much for just providing all of that rich content about your work, about school, and just being so honest and not afraid to share your story with us. Love that.
Because it's important to, I wish I had that when I was younger. So I'm nothing special. I just know I believe in myself, and I know I could do stuff, like I believe in it. And I want you to know, all the students out there, all the future world changers and world changers, that you can too. And it doesn't matter when you start, it matters that you start.
Yeah. Amanda's got that clarifying question. So where do they primarily launch to space?
I would have been at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Yeah, that's what would have been me. While Kat and Kelly was in Arizona, Texas, their spaceport, because that's an independent company. So that's it's a low orbit kind of flight. So with Virgin and Blue Origin, while heading to the ISS or doing what Cyan did, circling the Earth, you do it from Florida.
Julia has a question. Will you be at Engaging Girls in STEM? So I'm going to go ahead and answer that one. Yes, Adil will be there along with 29 other fabulous, fantastic women representing all kinds of different careers from engineering to medical illustrators, chemists, biologists. We've got a whole variety, and we can't wait for all of you girls to come and visit. Christine's got a question. What is the salary range for your job?
Yes, and that's actually a really good question. So if you stay within academia, you will have a livable wage, and it depends on the grants you receive and earn. So it could range from 100,000 to maybe 150, 160, depending on how long you've been there and the grants you bring in. If you're in industry, that's way more. So if you work for Roche or Zymogen or any of these biotech companies, way more. But here's the story. Because I worked for industry and I'm right back into academia. I went back into academia. Yes, it may not be as much money, but I get gift back time. So I can do these research explorations. So you have to see, what do you need for yourself? No matter what, you will have a livable wage, no matter where you are. That's the important thing. Now, what do you want for yourself? If you want a family, I have a family. I have 2 boys. I did the whole shebang, and you can't do everything. Sometimes you can't do everything at once. Even Michelle Obama even said, you could do everything, but sometimes you can't do everything at once. And this is where I'm very grateful that I had an accident that actually slowed me down, because I was trying to do everything all at once. And I couldn't walk for a long, long time because of this accident. And I needed to reprioritize and realizing, I wanted to, be with my family, because you only have one shot for that, and science will still be there. So you have to figure out what you want, how you want it, when you want it, and then you could organize it from there. And this is when you can't do it by yourself. You want to have a nice team around you.
That's such a great, honest answer. That's such great advice. So somebody like me who's in my 50s already, I'm still trying to figure out how to slow it down. And even though I've had some times where I had some issues where I had to slow down, no, I had no choice. It really was so beneficial. So that's some great advice there. Mai has a question. Other than the recent research and discovering some microbes, what job or what projects are you doing right now?
Okay, so I have a couple going on. Right now, launching STEAM Superheroes. So I have that nonprofit with incredible individuals working together to provide resources, even more access to engineers, scientists, artists. That's one. And the other is this. So I'm still analyzing this area here. I was telling Mr. Kwan about, I found something interesting. This should not be here. Fun facts. This should not be here. I just presented it at Caltech and I'm like, am I thinking well? And they were like, yeah, you're thinking right. Oh my God, oh my God. So I'm actually up for another mission at Iceland to work in a lava cave to see if I find this again. Because if I find this again, OMG. One thing that I'm really excited about is that I could use this organism, if I'm able to isolate this particular enzyme, I could use it for bioremediation. It's basically oil cleanup. So that's another thing. And this is where I'm grateful for my family. I'm not an artist, but I actually wrote a children's book, and that should be published or out in April. And it's a family affair. So the artist it's a true story. And that's another project that I'm doing. And then the other one I can't say yet.
Adrian, I've got a question for you. If your current career weren't in the picture, what do you think you'd be doing instead?
Oh, well, I will also still be teaching, because not only was I doing all the science and my research, I also was a high school teacher. I worked at Brentwood, at Buckley, at Bridges Academy. And I do mentor a lot of teachers to go beyond the textbook and how to really show how STEM is missing that multiculturalism lens, that you need to see how many individuals around the world that helped us to get to this point in our technology. So, and I still am teaching high schoolers, college students, and middle schoolers, but not in a classroom anymore. This is my first full year not in a classroom, but I have reached educators, high schoolers, and middle schoolers around the world, and I feel like I'm doing it's if you teach a person how to fish, it feels like that's what's happening, and I'm feeling really grateful.
So let me ask this question differently. So if you didn't get into the sciences like you did, you never met the folks that inspire you to pursue higher education, what do you think you might be doing right now?
Honestly, so if I didn't see those individuals that believed in me as well, I think I would have been dead. I would have been shot. I would have
Oh,
been I'm not kidding. I would have probably been in a gang. What was stereotypical, um, what was expected of me, of individuals from the inner city, I don't think I would have been alive right now.
and
And
again,
yeah, true.
yeah, and again, you grew up in the South Bronx, so it is like LA in some
No.
cases.
So yeah, I was shot at. I had people try to mug me. I was in fights just for survival. Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that you are here today. Here's another question from Amanda. Are there opportunities that are local to get involved with space in the LA Long Beach area? I guess another follow-up would be, what majors do students focus on in college to set them on track towards being an astronaut? Can I just say here that as far as being an astronaut, it doesn't matter what major you have to get into that. And there are different ways to get there. And I think there's just some amazing opportunities to become an astronaut today
Yes.
than years before. So take it away.
Definitely. Yeah, no, definitely. For the astronaut question, it depends on what you want to do in space. So if you just want to be an astronaut to be an astronaut to see space, you can do that. You could actually just pay and just get a ride. Okay. They're legit. Or if you want to, like for me, I really want to use the space, the microgravity to answer some of my research questions. That's the reason I want to go up there, because I think it could be used as a tool. And also I do want to see the earth. You hear all these beautiful poetry and words that individuals who were so fortunate to go up into space and see our planet, and definitely Cyan will talk about Earthlight, just see that this fragility that we live in, how dare we disrespect it? So I do want to see that. I forgot the last question.
The question was, are there local opportunities to get involved with space?
Definitely. JPL, Caltech, UCLA, US, just look phase one. What do you like? There is individuals who have labs and research facilities that are working to email them saying, hey, can I be a shadow? Can I help in some way? This is how I could be of service. This is what I want to learn. And this is why I admire, and you could help me in my growth. That's phase one. Just ask. Two, you're going to meet everyone that you need at the Engaging in STEM, Engaging Girls in STEM in March 30th. Ask them, saying, hey, is there an opportunity there? Like for me, is there an opportunity? There's citizen science work that you can actually do to study astronomy or anything like that. So if you go to Zooniverse, or my research project, JPL, has tons of citizen science work that you can actually participate in current research. All you need access to is a computer. Okay. I think I answered it. Yeah.
Yeah, Basha has a question, and I'll see if I can clarify this question because I'm wondering about this myself. The question is, how do you teach outside the classroom? And I'm thinking that it's about how are you able to teach in doing all this other projects and stuff like that? I think that's where that question might be, so I'm not sure, but take
All
it
right.
away.
Oh, so how do I teach outside the classroom? I am pretty organized, and now I'm learning. Now it's getting a little hard because I do different time zones. But especially when it's local, or at least in the United States, when I mean local, I do have these events. And like, if you are interested in doing studying genes, or if you need some one-on-one, I have people email me. Sometimes schools just ask me, hey, can you come over and do a workshop? I have just students just drop a DM or like DMs, whatever, not email, but through the social media. And I usually answer questions from there. I try to do one-on-one as much as I can, but the most teaching I do is like I train teachers so they could disseminate, and then I go to them and I help that way and be a resource. But I try to do a lot of one-on-one as much as I can.
Evelyn's got some questions, and I'm going to tackle this one, and then please fill in the blanks for me, Aidyl. Are there opportunities that you mentioned that are possible for high school students like at Caltech or JPL? So, Evelyn, definitely there are opportunities that actually begins as early as middle school through the Association of American, I'm sorry, American Association of University Women, who actually puts on these little institutes for middle school girls. So they actually get to, if they're selected, get to actually do some on-site residential settings. So it's like a summer camp for girls at a local college university. For high school students, there are lots of different opportunities. In fact, at our Engaging Girls in STEM event, we've got UC Santa Cruz, who will be hosting a booth, who are offering a possibility of doing internships up on the campus of UC Santa Cruz. But there are also other universities and other places that offer some kind of lab experience or internships as well. But Aidyl, do you know of anything else?
Yes. Like Caltech, they have the summer connection program. So definitely look into that. They have high school students and middle school, high school, and educators that can actually be part of this program. And I used to be part of this I used to do this program as well. So I used to get teachers and students, put them together, and they will help me on a research project. The student will present to their peers as well as fellow scientists with their teacher cohort. For the educator, I will help you create, or now the others that are also involved, help you create curriculum around this research project to show why do you need to learn these basic skills, because these skills are used to answer real world problems. An example of this real world problem is the research that you did. So it's definitely a CRP. JPL, well, I know NASA itself have research programs for high school students. And I've been putting it out on my social media. Here are the opportunities. I think the NASA high school opportunity will end in about 2 weeks. So definitely look into the high school internship there. But you also have SpaceX, you have Blue Origin, you have private companies. All you have to do is just write high school students on the Google, high school students internships now, or for 2024, and you're going to see all this pop up.
Yeah, and again, at our for those girls that are attending our Girls in STEM, we'll also have the Association of Architects who will be presenting, who will also have some possible internships. We also have the American Chemical Society, who will also be present, who's also got some opportunities for high schools as well. Here's a question from Adriana. Are there any strategies that have had the biggest impact on your personal success?
Yeah. Not caring or not comparing myself to other individuals. I want to be a person that individuals want to worth know. I don't want to just be known. I know I've been given a gift of life again, because I should have not be here because something happened to me. So I want to make sure that I'm investing myself authentically. I want to pay it forward as truly and honestly with opportunities, not just saying, hey, I'm here to support STEM without the street cred. There are opportunities and I am providing it. And just doing stuff that makes me happy with the individuals who believe in me and I believe in them. When your body knows when there's some shade going on or not unauthenticness, trust it, you know? Once I realized, hey, just, worry about your family, your friends, pay it forward, provide opportunities, don't compare yourself with others, and just keep on investing, just take it easy. That strategy worked out for me.
I think that's such great advice, Adil, especially in this world of comparison, right? Trying to strive for the best when you're living in cultures where it's all about you got to be number one, you got to be number one. And in this day and age, especially after COVID, it's all about me. Where is my head in this space right now? I think that's such great advice right
Yeah,
there.
don't fall, there are social influencers that are fantastic. I know for STEM, definitely you see individuals from all aspects of humanity doing STEM work and really doing great work and showing their work and giving opportunity through social media so you can see, because if you don't know what to be if you don't see, and then you could make it better or go beyond. But then they're just be careful to go into the job. Don't compare yourself to the social influencers and thinking, oh my God, I need to have the straight hair or the curly hair or the blue green eyes or whatever it may be, or like go like this. Don't worry about that, because now you're just trying to conform, and I just learned this, that the word weird, please, if there's anyone, please correct me. The word weird means leader. I have to look it up. It says it was derived, that you could double check me, but it's okay to be different or weird because you're setting a standard that is novel, that you are making a change. If you just want to be, that, I mean, you can, but if it doesn't make you happy, don't do it.
Yeah, thank you for so much, because I think there's so many individuals out there with imposter syndrome sometimes. It's like we have to rethink this. We really do.
Yeah. Sometimes I get into the imposter syndrome as well, but then I stop and I'm like, why do I feel this? No, and it's, why do I feel this way? It's because someone programmed me to think that way. It's okay to be proud of what you have done, not to flaunt it and go, oh my God, look at this. No, but just say, hey, I was able to go on a high G, high G training, or I was able to go to a cave, and this is how you could do it too, and that I earned that. I worked hard for that, and someone believed in me to do that. So that's not imposters, because I wouldn't be there if I wasn't qualified. So I still do this. I still check myself. I'm like, oh my God, I don't think I deserve to be there. But then I'm like, wait a second. Why am I saying that? It's because some haters back in the day put that in my head. So I had to go get it away.
So we got two more questions for you because we're coming up on time. But Basha's got a really great question. She's been reading astronauts' resumes, and they seem to have a lot of careers prior to being an astronaut, military, doctors, educators. What career crosses over the most?
What I've did in my perspective, is this my Basha that I taught her many moons ago? If it is,
Yes.
oh, that's gonna make me cry.
She's saying hi.
Hola, hola, long time no see. Look, I still have the Red Bull. I see amongst them all this explorer attitude of, oh my gosh, what is else out there? And the exploring and exploring how far humanity can go. And I'm so excited that Cyan is there because she went up to space because of her art. You know, it's like to show the humanity. A lot of the astronauts have this artistic ability, not only to do spoken word, sculptures, music. That's the common thread that I see is what else is out there? How far can humanity go? And the ability and the desire to share with everybody and say, hey, you could do this too. Come, come, come. That's the common thread. That's what I see. And it's so exciting that everyone can have access to space. Before, as of 6 years ago, not everybody had access to space. Now we all have access to space. There's been an 18-year-old in space. There's been an 87-year-old in space. So this is the exciting part.
Maya's got a really good question, and it is personal. So if you don't mind, since you've been this successful, how has it affected your family? Has it affected your family anyway? Like, does your kids, family, friends, or do they have more opportunities now to become as successful, and has it helped financially as well?
I hear your words. It's this is where I say I had to balance. So I had to take a step back a little bit, especially when my kids were younger, because I wanted to be there with them. And I wanted to know that I'm there, I'm mom that can also do this. And it was, and I also had an accident, so my body didn't let me do as much as I wanted to do. So, and that's why I call it a blessing in disguise, that it slowed me down to see the value of you can't do everything, you can, but sometimes you have to compartmentalize a little bit. Yes, that my husband and I, being in the STEM field, definitely gave listen to my students, as well as my boys, my sons, to decide if that was the field that they want to get into. And they don't like science. They despise it. But I'm glad that they saw that they don't have to go there. We definitely say education is important, but do what is authentically you. Take those chances. If you believe in yourself and you think this is an investment for yourself, things will fall in your lap. I think that was the advantage that I didn't have growing up, because my parents said, this is all you can be. They put me in a box, not ill-intended. It's just, that's what was told to us, growing up. You're Latina, we were in poverty. This is all we could do. This is what people expected me to do. Now I could tell my boys, no, you could do anything you want. I don't expect you to be anything but authentic to yourself and just believe it and just fly. You could be whatever. I think that's the difference. And they know that we're here to support them. I hope that helped a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. So, Adil, I'm going to ask the last question and then close it out. But for those that aren't here with us today, what is a clear message that you would love to provide to all of our girls who are still wondering whether or not STEM is the path for them? What will it take for them to cross that line to explore
what is the question you want to answer for yourself? What is that when you sit down at night, you're by yourself, where does your mind wander to? For me was how was four little chemicals, ATCG, how is that stardust? And how did that stardust create all this life in this planet and possibly others? But why did it work here and not in others? That's what brought me into the world of STEM. And don't think that STEM is just math and because that's the fear is then doing calculus. Art can be STEM. So my son, what I did say, he didn't go into the field of STEM, but he does a lot of environmental empathy, and that's science and engineering and mathematics are components of art to show individuals that they have access and to really see that his focus, their focus is, the planet and the environment and how it's not as healthy as it used to be. So he uses art to symbolize what's happening now. And that is STEM. That's why you hear us say esteemed STEM, because if you don't have that art component, that's the humanity component, the empathy component, STEM won't work. So if you have a question that you believe in and that STEM can be used as a tool, go for it. And you don't have to be by yourself. When I was in the mission at the cave, there was the scientist, we have a geologist, we had a psychologist, and we also had an artist. Because how can I could say 1 + 1 is 2, but that is not as impactful as you say, one apple, another apple, now is feeding 2 individuals. I don't know how to describe it, but do not be afraid of that word STEM, it's STEAM, and there's a humanity component. And if there's a humanity art that you want to convey, because look at this is art right here. This is microcosmos expressing its love to be in existence through color. And this is their color. See how beautiful is that? It's kind of Barbie-esque too, right? So it's kind of cool.
Thank you
I hope
so
that
much,
helps.
Aidyl. Yeah, it does. I think that's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and close out. Let me just go ahead and get to my slides. And everybody, let's see if I can get this going in here. Sorry. There we go. So again, here's my email. Should you have any other questions for me, but you can always reach out to me at Kwan_Anthony@lakeof.edu. That is my direct office number right there, 562-922-6896. But again, I want to make sure that you have other opportunities. So if you can't make it to our Girls in STEM, well, we want to make sure that you are aware of the City of STEM Science Festival and Maker Faire that's taking place April 6, 2024 at the historic park near Chinatown. That's open to everybody, including everyone in your family, males and females. Also happening at the same day on April 6th is the Southern California Science Olympiad state competition. So most of the events will be closed to the public, but there are events that are open to the public, so you can see all of those things that are taking place. Again, all of this is happening on April 6, 2024, City of STEM at the historic park near Chinatown. So it starts, I think, at about 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. and lasts until 6 p.m. The Southern California Science Olympiad competition will begin right at 8:30 a.m. and will probably end about 3 o'clock. Again, not everything is going to be open at the Science Olympiad competition, but there are public events that are taking place. For those of you who are still trying to get into Girls in STEM or would like more information, again, there's the website, www.engaginggirlsinstem.com. If you are a classroom teacher and would like to try to get girls to there, please register them now. We are taking that, and registration will be closing at the end of the week, so on the 22nd. But with that, again, thank you all for joining us today. We love having you here. And just to let you know, we're really excited that we will be hosting a second virtual keynote speaker with one of our original STEM ambassadors, Julie Newman, who is a current engineer over at Boeing, and who will also be one of our ambassadors at March 30th Girls in STEM. Thank you again for joining us. If you or your friends have missed this one, we will be posting this up on YouTube, and then we'll send that information out to everybody here. You can also always go back to the Girls in STEM website, where we will post this recording as well. Thank you again so much, everybody.
Okay, muchas gracias. Gracias, everyone. Thank you.